Hello, this is Tamara Caulder Richardson, known as sometimes the Southern Belle Medium, and I want to welcome you to my channel, which is Seeking Heaven, the Near-Death Experience and Other Phenomena. Today, wow, do we have someone so exciting for you to listen to. And she's also a really good friend, and I just respect and love her so much. Today, we have Yvonne Sneeden. Yvonne is very special, and you'll soon find out. She has had a near-death experience and also a very spiritual, deeply sacred experience with Christ, which we both share that. So that's kind of cool because she had that. I had that in my NDE. But just her as a person is so soulful. She's also very intelligent. I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to bring you on yet because I don't want to embarrass you. But she not only is she going to talk about her near-death experience today, but we're also going to talk about her. She co-produced a movie about near-death experiences called Back from the Light. It's very beautifully, professionally done. And we're going to have her talk a little bit about that. And she is very educated, quite smart. She can speak 4 different languages, French, German, Dutch, and English. She is now starting, she has a YouTube channel. We're going to have everything below for you to see, a French NDE channel. And again, she is more than just, what is she, quadruple lingual? I don't know if there's a word for that. And and just to throw out a fun fact, now she's very educated. She's an IT specialist. She works for a leading IT network. We will not say who, but I think you might know who, since it is the leading IT network. But she has worked as the marketing officer for the Royal Thai Embassy. She's just cool and interesting, and she's so soulful, and she loves Jesus like me. And I want to introduce her. Yvonne, so nice to have you.
Oh, what a beautiful introduction. I hope I'll be up to the introduction. Thank you so much, Tamara.
Oh. Well, look, Yvonne was so kind to me. I met Yvonne. I'm trying to think where I met you. Oh, you spoke to our group, I'm Charlotte, but I met you before that. Where did I meet you?
I actually invited you to my group in Raleigh.
Oh, that's right, darn it. How can I forget? It was amazing.
Oh, we met in Florida. We met in Florida at the IM in Orlando. Remember? Both in North Carolina, so we were so excited. Yeah.
That was like, my gosh, that was 2015.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, time flies. And you came up to me, this vivacious, beautiful, exotic woman comes up to me and she goes, "Oh, Tamara," and I heard of you. And then we connected, and I was running late on my post helping in the bookstore. But I was so happy that I connected with her. And she goes, and I'm in North Carolina, I'm in Charlotte, and she's in Raleigh. And that was it. You have your
I didn't see you.
What now?
Is it normal that I don't see?
Yes. Here we go. Oh, yes. Oh, here we go. I got so interested in talking to you. Oh my goodness. We have too much fun, guys. Before we got on here, we had way too much fun. We almost hated to do the interview, but we'll share ourselves and our conversation with you. But yeah, Yvonne, when we met in 2015 at the INS, the International Association of Near-Death Studies conference in Orlando that year. She was saying, you were telling me that you had a Raleigh chapter, and I said, I have a Charlotte chapter in North Carolina. I thought that was unusual because there are people all over the world there.
Yeah.
And then that was, what was it, a year later, you invited me to your Raleigh?
Yeah, the Raleigh group, and we had an amazing time. I mean, honestly, it was packed. I had never seen so many people coming, actually, at my meeting. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I was like, well, I said, is it normally this many people? And you're like, I don't know. I mean, you have crowds, but you said, this is especially, I was like, oh boy, it's a good thing I have a very professional PowerPoint presentation. But we did a medium demonstration afterwards, and a lot of people stayed. And they wouldn't leave, actually. You had to tell them to leave.
Exactly.
Remember?
Yeah. You were such a gift, actually. I'm sorry. You were such a gift for the people there. You actually helped them a lot with all the messages from heaven that you had, actually. It was just amazing. I saw some people coming in very stressed and then leaving with a beaming smile, actually. It was just awesome.
Well, that's God working. When I do that, I surrender myself, even though, God has given me this gift, and to communicate interdimensionally, I don't know what word you want to call it, to heaven. he has given me this gift. I'm also trained at it, but it's really I surrender to God to help whoever needs it in the room. So I just surrender. Literally, I'm a blank slate. So God use me, and he brings the people to me, and the spirit people in heaven, they show up giving supportive, loving messages. So to me, that was so the beautiful people you had in your group, including yourself. And then we had fun over the weekend. I ended up staying an extra day because we had too much fun. Remember that?
Yes, and you helped me out with my something personal that was really incredible. How you remember? You remember on your way to the meeting the day before the IAMS meeting, you receive a message from Christ, from Jesus.
Yeah, I did.
Come to my home, but the night before, I had a dream that you were coming to my home, and you were looking at every room of the house. And I had that message. So when the next thing Jesus told me to come in your house, actually I was prepared, and I knew it was true, because it wasn't an amazing.
Wow. Well, just to think, Yvonne, you're as pure as they come. I mean, not that any of us are perfect, but you're just you're just have such a loving intention. But you had a property. You were in a complex that had some, it wasn't exactly you, but it just had some issues.
Yeah.
haunted that was not positive. And so, Jesus handled it, but it's not like a normal thing you get to tell everybody. But Jesus, what was funny, because my near-death experience, I experienced him, and I did not really grow up religious or anything. I knew who he was, but he's also my teacher. I talk to him all the time like Yvonne does, but I'm on the way to Raleigh. It's about 3.5 hours away from Charlotte. And I'm driving like a bat out of hell, 85 miles an hour. And Jesus and I'm thinking about the speech and how I want to do it and how I need to help you and the time. And I'm kind of going over that in my head. And then he shows up. And I don't see him, but he just starts talking in my head. It's a beautiful day. And he starts talking about how much he loves Yvonne. And he started telling me all this stuff about, I was getting high in the car, and I was just hauling butt, and I was getting high like, whoa. And he talked to me the entire time. So I got there, and I was telling Yvonne that when I showed up, I said, Jesus talked to me about you the entire time. Do you remember that?
Yes, I remember. I remember all of that. Yeah.
So I knew this woman must be sort of important for him to talk. Talk my ears off. And that was the day that I had a miracle, because I said, oh, I'm so happy you're with us. And I wasn't sure. He was coming through so strong, what was going to happen that weekend, but I knew it was going to be special. But that's when I was telling you I was driving. I said, well, I'd love a sign to know you're there. Although he's been talking to me the whole time. Feathers started falling out of the sky, like 8 to 10 feet long, that were white. Wow. And first he said, you won't believe this if I give you a sign. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, you won't believe me. I said, you saying I'm hard-headed? He goes, sometimes. And I'm like, well, I still want my love sign. And he goes, okay. 5 minutes later, and I started seeing them more and more and more. And they were literally on the street. No, there was no, at that time, the cars around me, and they were white, and they weren't coming. They were like, I don't know where they came from. They were emptying out, literally at some point, hundreds. And I started giggling and laughing, because to me, I can't explain it. It's like a miracle. I don't know where they came from. I kept looking for other cars or a chicken truck.
Because you were on the highway and there were no birds there and nothing. It came from heaven. It came from heaven.
There was no cars. There was
handing all that beautiful gift for you.
That's what he said, and that's how much when I'm so excited to have you tonight, because you understand that supernatural, amazing. It's not a human love. It's pretty extraordinary love that he has for all of us. But he said, this is just to let you know I love you. I told you wouldn't believe me. And then he laughed.
Yeah, because what seems surreal for us or supernatural, it's actually natural for, and he wanted just to send you his love. And so, love attracts love. You love him so much, and love attracts him
so much. But he talked about you 3 hours. He didn't talk about me. I was like, literally, I think I told you I was exhausted. So when I got there, and you laughed, I said, no, I'm serious. And he told you what he I relayed what he said, but we became fast friends at that point. And then you even helped me with when I taught a day of mediumship at the Edgar Casey Center.
Yes, I wanted,
yeah.
I wanted to be a gift to you because I know I know that when we go and speak somewhere, people want to be next to you during break time and after time. And I wanted to make sure you had food and that people would, that the loving people, it's wonderful, wonderful to have people wanting to be with us, but you also needed some time to yourself, and I wanted to be a gift.
You did, and you interjected politely, and you brought me food, and because it was a long day, it was like an 8-hour class, and I was concerned because, you know, I was going to talk about how I work with the angels and how I work with Jesus and doing this work. And I thought, oh, great, how's this going to be received? And, but there was some hidden like Baptists and some people like that came to me and said, I've had gifts since a kid and I don't want to look at myself as bad. I mean, I love God, I love Jesus, but I don't want to come out. So it ended up being positive, and, you know, we, you know, had a good time, but that we go way back. So you've been so busy with your work. You've been so busy that, you know, your new channel. Tell us, I want to go into so much with you, but the fact that you've made this time, I feel very honored. So by now, you should know I'm a fan of Yvonne's. I think she's awesome. And she's a lot of fun. I wish we could just have fun. So maybe we'll have her back.
We love all together.
Yes, we do. Maybe on the live chat that we can have her back and answer questions. So I want to first talk about, before we get into your NDE, because you're a very soulful person anyway. You know, it's not like it started just with that. So let's talk about first thing. I just have to know, how did you get the marketing office director position for the Royal Thai Embassy?
Well, that was in Europe, actually, in Belgium, because I'm French and I grew up in Belgium and lived a few years in France, so my first language is French. I was dating a Thai guy, actually. That's so as simple as that. I met him in a private party, and he was amazing, very kind, and we dated for 2 years. And then one day his sister comes over to Europe because she was going to go to the UK to study in a university in a college in the UK. And then she tells me, I've been dating him for 2 years. He's amazing and quite older than me. But she said, and I was still in college. And she says to me, we are part of the royal family. I said, wow. And she said, yeah, our name is from the ancient royal name, actually. It's actually before Thailand, the country was named Siam. And so the family, the royal family, had that last name. In Thailand, if you have that last name, everyone knows that it's actually from that royal family. And so I didn't know, he never told me. And I said, you never told me you were from a royal family. And then he said, well, I never thought it was necessary.
Wow, that's humility.
He was so humble. He was the best person ever. And he was so humble. And he's the one who actually introduced me to a position at the Royal Thai Embassy after my college years. As soon as college over, I was working as a marketing officer at the Royal Thailand Embassy, and it was such a blessing. And I saw king, queens, ambassadors we had, and you know, because Brussels, where I grew up, is a little bit like DC.
Yes.
The US, it's where everything happened politically for the entire Europe. All the countries in Europe. It's actually where you have all the European Union, you have all the main institutions. So it's a very cosmopolitan city, and that's how I got in. So it was just straight from the
Sounds like coincidence, but it probably wasn't. So you're at that point, you're probably 21, right? 22?
Yeah, 22. I'm 22 and I'm starting, and I have a job like a
high rank position at the Thai Embassy. And it's funny because when I visited you, we were walking through, showing me your place, and you showed me, says, Tamara, look at this. You're showing me these amazing, like, gorgeous ball gowns. And you said that you went to these fancy galas. So what a cool life.
Yeah.
to do
Well,
some of that.
actually, Tamara, it was such a blessing. I worked there for 8 years, and I went to all those evening parties. I handled all the, I was an interpreter as well for the diplomats, for political negotiations and things like that. And also, I mean, I helped as well. We were actually handling the customs department of the Royal Thai Embassy. So we were the only office in the entire Europe. So anyone who wanted to do business with Thailand, any countries, had to come through us, and we were helping them. So I worked with all those high dignitaries. I have pictures of that, and but it made me feel that they are just like us.
Yeah.
They are struggling through life. They have their own marital problems. They have the kids' problem. I mean, they're just like us. They just happen to be in those high positions. But it actually helped me demystify that and realize that we're all equal, because we all have issues and a similar situation in a different way.
Absolutely.
Maybe not struggling for food, probably.
Well, but it is.
Probably.
Well, but it's the human condition. You're right, and that's why some of our NDErs, and if you're willing to go there, we might even could talk about struggles. And let me just say this real quick: the people that are listening, a lot of near-death experiencers, actually all of them that I know, had trauma in their life, like more trauma than probably you. So whether it was physical abuse, mental abuse, sexual abuse, they went through terrible, horrible cancers. I mean, it's just really unpleasant. Don't you agree? Do you feel this?
Yes, I mean, there are studies that have been done that actually not everybody that has an ND has had trauma in their childhood, but the large majority. And I met my parents 3 times. So
tell that story real quick, because people hear our stories and they go, "Oh, you're so blessed," or "You have gifts and you have intuitive healing abilities," but they don't get it. We went through some crap.
Get that. Yeah, exactly.
They need to know that this has not all been pretty.
No.
So talk about that's very fascinating. You met your parents 3 times. What, you were in a boarding school?
Yes, actually, in Brussels, they were business people, so they were traveling, and so they actually put me and my two elder sisters in a Catholic boarding school. Like you see in those movies, in the British movies, they're all in uniforms, and the parents only comes for the holidays and pick the kids, and it's a very great education. You're well mannered, and you have to do a genuflect. You have to just ask. It's the whole upscale type of upbringing, but very strict, with nuns that are very difficult. They're hard. And actually, that boarding school had international. It was international, so you had many kids were coming from different countries, and the parents were in governments and other situations like that, and they didn't have time for their kids. So the trend growing up in Europe was, if you want to have a good education and we don't have time, we put you in a private all-girl boarding school. So that's what my parents did, and the nun was not nice, the mean one, but very strict, loveless. And my parents actually, so every holidays, every kids would go back on vacation, but my parents paid double for my 2 sisters and I to stay every single summer vacation in a boarding school. Oh. So we're the only 3 ones. And so for 10 years, we never saw them. 9 years. We never saw them.
That is wild. How do you, now that you're a worldly woman, you're a grown woman, looking back on it as a grown woman, looking back at the little girl Yvonne, what was that like? Because that's you probably got a really good education.
Well, as far as education, everything was well-mannered and everything. But as I said, emotionally, we didn't have the love of a mother or a father. I remember crying every night for her. But at the same time, because we were 100 children, at the same time, I think we gave each other the love we needed and the support we needed. And but it was not easy, because for almost 9 years, and of course, because we were the 3 ones that were staying at a boarding school, the nuns could do anything they wanted with us. They were not nice to us because they didn't have to report to parents that would come periodically. So, and I was the least loved child of the boarding school. The least.
You were the what? Least loved?
Yeah. Yes, I was. I was not the nun.
Oh, sorry.
Because no, that's okay. Because actually, I wasn't. You know, I went to the boarding school. I was 4 years old until I was 13 years old. So, so I was very young, and I was not always clean as a child, and so there were a lot of punishment from the nuns because of that. And
really?
Yes.
So it was there's a harshness to it too.
Yes, but you know, it's a learning. I take it all like through hardship, like you were saying. I know your childhood wasn't very happy, so we learn through it, and I think through all those hardship, we learn compassion, and we learn empathy for others, because we know what it is to suffer, to go through hardship.
Yes.
Then for me, I have learned to really be careful, not hurting people, and being very careful about the emotions of people and how I interact with them, maybe because of my childhood and life later on. But so that was, you know, and the first time we saw our parents, when they actually flew us back home, I called them Mom and Sir, because we never knew them.
Oh,
But,
isn't that fascinating? Well, it's funny because you're talking about being dirty. You are a clean nut. I mean, you are clean. Maybe that was because of that. I always laugh about, you know, my mom, my brother makes a joke because she was, wash your hands after you eat, before you eat, all the time. So he said he became a compulsive hand washer.
maybe that's, you know, that's, yeah, exactly. That's what I, you know, I wasn't clean on myself, you know, not clean, you know, like a child that, you know, cannot get into the restroom. So that was a type of thing. And, but yeah, I'm very peculiar to be really always clean in my life.
Yeah, you're a neat nut now. So, you know, it paid off. Well, look, I want to talk about, kind of leading up to, this is how if this feels okay to you, like leading up to your NDE, who you were, and I kind of know about this. I think it would be helpful to share some of it. I don't know how much you want to share. It's up to you. I will tell you that the reason I created this channel, much like probably the reason you created your channel on your French NDE channel, is to give a safe platform so people could be recognized, be heard, and not to be judged, whatever race, background, religion, or no religion, that it's just a safe place. So you are loved here, and this is safe, but it is also about healing, not with just us, but healing of other people that might hear your message. And I think we glamorize, I hate to say that word, this NDE thing, we do. And it's like layers of an onion. The more I tell it, I'm like, all right, guys, it was really bad before that. So maybe you can explain, and I think this is very pivotal here, that with the NDE it happening, there were things that led up to that that maybe were not so good, that maybe I can say for myself that really I needed to have that spiritual connection with God to get myself back, to get on with this life. So can you talk about, you know, I've talked, I mean, people know it, about, you know, me being sexually abused. I actually willed myself to die, you know, and I didn't really, you know, but so there is that element to it. So you want to just pick up wherever, if you want to bring it kind of to adulthood. We know you work with the embassy and so forth. I love that. And I will tell you, I like when you told me about the charming man you met, and it was like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, because it sounds like, I know, I do remember. I remember. But it sounds like a Cinderella story, and then it turns into a nightmare. It sounds like that movie with Julia Roberts, where she marries this guy and they have this amazing home, like you can see all glass on the beach, and then she realizes he's a freak, and she goes in the cabinet, all the bean labels are, you know, he's just like, oh my God, this guy's psycho. So kind of, not saying your life reminds me of that, but
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so okay, actually, in between the Thai embassy and many years later, so I got, I was married once and we divorced, and we're still good friends today. So and then I meet the American man. I'm in Europe, and I in between the embassy and that moment, I also had an awakening, Christian awakening, in the sense that I accepted Christ in my life. And my ex-husband and I, we became really ministers, and we preached in Europe. I mean, my faith was extremely important. And today, when I talk about all that, I really want to focus on Jesus, regardless of any political party, that's not
Right.
any religious affiliation. It's really love. So back then, so we did an amazing, it was amazing. All that could be another interview, because it was just amazing years.
Yeah.
With miracles and things like that.
True. But, yeah, you've seen people's teeth grow back and legs grow back and healing things.
And miraculous thing, skin wounds healed in front of me. So, but anyway, there's a long, painful story that we're not going to tell today, and we divorced, and so I don't want to be in the ministry ever again. I said, this has been too painful because it was amazing, an amazing life, and then suddenly the divorce stopped everything about it. So eventually I meet somebody and he's American, and he's wonderful. He sends me flowers at work.
Educated. Good job, right?
Very good. His family, outstanding family, outstanding family. And so here I am, very innocent, and I'm thinking God has given me a second chance. I'm meeting that man, wonderful man, and he sends me gifts. So we're preparing the wedding, and I live in Europe, so we kind of back and forth make trips, Europe, the US, and then eventually we decide who is going to move, and it's me, because usually it's a woman who makes the sacrifice for some reason. And then I moved to the US,
now, what city were you in? I forgot. You were in a big city, weren't you?
I was in Brussels, but when I moved to the US, I never left Raleigh, actually.
Oh, you're kidding. Okay. Yeah. Well, God finds a way to get you here. Real quick. Now, didn't you have your daughter?
Yes.
And how old was she?
Yes. And that's another long story, and people will think, oh, it's horrible that you moved with your daughter, but there's another story to it that people...
No, that's okay, but you were a young mother at that point. That's all. Yeah, okay.
And so it was, everything was, everyone approved of me living with my daughter to the US. So I was a young mom. And
your daughter's awesome. She's beautiful inside and out, and very smart.
So she's the light of my life, and she's such a wonderful human being. Actually, she's doing a master now, and she's done psychology. She's a social. She's really into people. So she's a gift. So we moved here. She's 5, and we have the wedding of a lifetime.
Yeah, explain it, because you were telling me. I mean, this is like an expensive wedding you were talking about. I mean, it's fancy.
It was a fancy wedding. We went to, we got married to a very well-known church here in town, where actually one of the former politicians is actually, it was a very nice church. And then we had our wedding reception at the Museum of Art of Raleigh. So it was really a beautiful wedding. His family was, and he was nice. I mean, everything seems like the beautiful time, a beautiful life. And I was thinking, really, God has blessed us.
Yeah, you're excited.
But the day one of the wedding night, and I'm gonna tell it because it's so funny. We were both very tired, of course, with all the preparation and everything. And we arrive in front of the beautiful house. And I'm that romantic French woman,
Of course. Aren't all French?
I'm French. And I have that beautiful dress that I bought it from Spain, and it's like that gorgeous. and I'm in front of the house, and I'm 5'5", he's 6'2", I think. And I look at that house, and I look at him with love, and I say romantically and innocently, I said, would you carry me in?
Yeah,
And
the bride, pick them up, carry them to the threshold.
would you carry me in? And then he looks at me and he said, are you kidding me? I'm not going to break my back. And
here's the thing, you're a toothpick. If you look, I mean, you're a tiny person. You're very little. You're very petite.
Yeah. And well, anyway, I don't want to say too much bad thing because
yes,
bless his heart.
But you knew. I know.
From that moment on, I
knew.
Okay, something is wrong in our relationship, and it went from that moment to from bad to worse to horrible for us. Actually, I don't know. He's still alive, so I don't want to. But I just want to say my side of the story is that I was a pure, innocent, loving Christian woman, thinking God has blessed me, and then suddenly I'm somebody who actually, to me, became really verbally abusive and condescending all the time. And even during our honeymoon, they're screaming and yelling, and so so you see, I felt like, okay, that was not the best moment. That wasn't the best. But trapped. I felt like I was trapped. That like you said, the story, Prince that turned into a nightmare, and I was stuck here. And then eventually, long story short, we separated after a few months, and that's where my NDE was going long.
I do, and I'm not going to bring up anything personal, but I just want to kind of get the gravity of this. Here you are, a beautiful young mom, so thrilled to come back, marry into this perfect family. God does well, gorgeous wedding, and then when the abuse started, and the verbal abuse, and there was, I know you've told me some things that are kind of shocking, and you're like, at some point you must have gone, oh my God, what did I do? But it was almost like they're split personalities, the way that you described it. And so here you are, new to this country with a daughter. You probably didn't know anybody.
No, I didn't know anyone. Yeah.
And it had to be frightening. I mean, you're very brave.
Yeah, it was. And thinking back, I'm thinking, how in the world did you move so far away from home? After, but then
it all worked out. It all worked out.
I was much younger and, very impulsive. I mean, not impulsive, but I really thought I had prayed for it.
Sure, why not?
And we were alone, and, when we had some violent scenes, and I remember my daughter and I being outside with nothing. So eventually it was so hard, and we eventually divorced, because I had no friend, no family. But back then, because I knew Christ, and I looked for a local church, and that helped me, because I went into one and I made friends there, and I made a friend of a single mother who also was out of an abusive relationship. She had 2 kids, and
is that the woman you told me that was so tough, that really took to you and helped you?
Yeah, she was like 6'2". She's 6'2", and she was from Boston.
Whoa, she's huge.
6'2", big blonde, blue eyes, and she was doing bodybuilding so she had those muscles. You don't mess with her.
Wow. She's like a Wonder Woman, and like, what is it? It's like an Amazon Wonder Woman type thing. That's your bodyguard.
She really helped me out so much, because she had just bought a house, and she told me, listen, she was renting an apartment. She said, you can take over my lease if you want to, because I just found an apartment. And that's how I was able to start back my life. His family was the most amazing. I have zero comment. They are beautiful, 3 wonderful sisters. The parents were amazing. The whole family was amazing. But I think, and so they were wonderful. So eventually, and so I found myself alone with my daughter in an apartment. I didn't know what product to buy, what is good, how is
what product? We're women. It's important to know what products to buy in a new country.
But because I had such a great job in Europe, in the embassy, and later on at the in the lobby for the European Union, when I moved here, I went to the local World Trade Center in Raleigh, and I introduced myself. And the director there was so amazing. She actually invited me in private parties of women, prominent women, and I found a job, and that's how I found my first job in the U.S. in the public diplomacy. That was my first job, and that's how I rebuilt my life with my daughter. But you know, all that stress and life and work and wanting to give a future to my daughter is what led to my NDE, actually.
Well, you know, the thing is, I want people to know it's not like you're, oh, wow, look at Yvonne, you're so successful. And you are, but you did it despite counter intention. You did it despite it. You succeeded, and you kept that hope, and you kept that love of God in your heart. And I love how that, I know you're a praying woman. I know that you probably asked God, I need some help here, and brought that woman who, didn't you say for a while, let you, what was it, lease free, or just to help? She just wanted to help.
She was the most wonderful person, Leslie, and she knows who she is, and her name is Leslie. If ever she watched that video one day, she saved us at that time.
She was your angel bodyguard. And I love what you were telling me. You're saying when she helped you the day you moved out, that it, you know, it went well, but that just her being so big that you said that was good. You know, just, you know, nothing happened, but I thought it was cute.
At that time, she had a boyfriend who was also a bodybuilder. No, he was a gym guru. And I still remember they were together, the two of them, carrying heavy sofa.
So funny.
They were carrying like a piece of cardboard, because they were just handing it like that. They were so strong. You know, I still remember them bringing all the furniture in my home. It was just nice. It was nice to see that love.
But you know, it's also, you needed a protector. You needed an earth. I know we have a heavenly protector, but you needed an earthly protector at that moment in time, because you were in not a dangerous situation, really. It escalated, and God came to your rescue, gave you the people, not what you'd expect, but it's exactly what you needed. And it's amazing when I, you know, hear your life and how the woman at the Raleigh, what is it? What is it called? The Embassy?
The World Trade Center.
The World Trade, that she took up for you, and then you ended up landing a really good job here. Was she help? Was that the woman?
Yes, it was. Yeah, she said, I cannot find you a job, but I can connect you to the part. We have regular coffee time with other women that are actually in high position. My cat is moving in high position, and so I went to those coffee time, and then one day she said, well, we have a newcomer, she's looking for a job, and somebody had a position for a director of program. So it was an amazing job, public diplomacy. The US has a kind of programs that they actually select dignitaries from different countries, and especially the countries that they have kind of diplomatic issues with, and they select dignitaries, and they pay for their trip to the US, and so they can go and visit. For example, to give an example, we had the head of a television channel in one of the countries that they have issues with. Well, that head came here, and we went with them to the local television station, and they could meet the people that do the same job as them. So it was a mayor from the country, so they would meet the mayor of the town. So they would meet their counterpart, and that was what we call public diplomacy, because countries that actually see the US in a very negative eye, when those high-level people come here, they can change their mind and say, wow. And I remember, I'm not going to say which country, because one of the head of that television of that country, and it's a country that's not always seeing eye to eye with the US. I still remember him telling me, "Wow, I didn't know that Americans were so nice. Americans."
Oh,
wow!
It built goodwill.
I'm not saying everybody's nice. In every country, you have good and bad people. That's the public diplomacy type of thing. You know, it's to show that there's a communication possible, and improve the relationship between countries. So that's the job I landed, and my ex-husband was really not happy I landed that job.
Oh no, because you're now independent.
Yeah, but
and you know, and spreading all that goodwill. you know, between different countries.
Yeah.
That must have been really exciting. So yeah, I remember you telling me that too, that you're like, oh boy, I think, didn't you say, he said, oh, you'll never get a job, you'll never do anything. And it was pretty soon you did.
Because of my accent. Yeah. You'll never
Oh,
have.
your accent's awesome. Are you
Because of
kidding?
your accent, nobody will hire you. I still remember he said that.
Well, you proved him wrong, and pretty soon too. It didn't take long. So let's talk about the NDE. So I want to show you're a woman of strength. You're a woman of tremendous amount of faith, faith in God, faith in yourself, faith in other people, and you know, through all this, you never gave up hope.
No.
On this world.
No.
And sometimes we do that, but yeah, I want people to know, you just seem so perfect, that you had hardships, and we all do, not to expose, you know, too much here, but talk about a little bit about the NDE, and then we'll get to our favorite part, which is the Jesus part.
Yeah, you know, like you said, we all have our hardship, and it's how you take it. You can actually learn from it and grow and love again, or you can actually hide yourself into the hurts and get bitter with life and others. And you always have that choice. And I'm not saying, I know that many people have gone through such a horrendous things that people have done to them. And we have gone through that ourselves. You and I have gone through horrible things that we're not going to say here. But it's a choice to say, okay, we can hope again, we can believe again that better things can happen, you know. And so
and they have.
What I was thinking, I was just free. It took me kind of 2 years to be totally feeling free, and my cat wants to go out.
Your cat goes out? You take your cat? Take your cat out? Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. So she's always on the window. But
oh my gosh. Okay, so it's not the film or the recording. It's Yvonne's
my
cat.
Scratching that thing. So she's adorable. And actually, so I find myself alone in that beautiful apartment, because we live in a very nice area here, Raleigh, Cleary area. It's beautiful, very green. And so
oh my God, that's right. Wait, well, I want to interject something. I totally had a flashback. When I did your thing in Raleigh, I had a flashback. My huge NDE where I met Jesus was that 1 year we lived in Cary, right where you are, right down the streets where it happened. I'm not kidding.
Oh my God.
Okay, it's called Rex Hospital, but I don't know what it's called now, but it's right near you.
Oh,
and it was, so coming back to Raleigh to that, it was kind of difficult for me, because I'm like, oh my God, I haven't been back since then. I was 5 years old and I died. And so I'm coming back. I don't know if you knew that.
Place in Cary, isn't it amazing? That's why
I mean, that's crazy. I just put that together, and I'm like, did I ever tell you that? I mean, yeah, I was a little like, I realized that, like, oh my God, I haven't been back since I died. Seriously, we moved shortly after that.
That's incredible, actually.
Because it was a horror to the family.
You know, I hope you have given your story too, because you have also very.
Oh, well, that's very sweet. Well, this is why I connect so much with you, because you know, abuse, different forms of abuse that we, you know, and the fact that you know, persevering, having our faith in God and humanity, ourselves, but also you know, we both saw Jesus on the other side, and it was like it was amazing.
Like, it was the peak of everything that exists, actually, that experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's good stuff. I mean, it's not human. There's no love. I don't care if you put the whole planet together. It's not a human love. It's supernatural. There you cannot do wrong in the face of Christ. No. He thinks you're great, even if you're a bum on the street peeing on yourself. He thinks you're great. Yeah. So it's so filling.
Yeah, we had that experience. You had that experience. I had that experience, indeed. Yeah. Yeah. That's
so even though this is a little, you know, kind of scary with the NDE, it's positive, because bonus, you get to see Jesus and you're still here.
Oh my God, yes. You know, it was like amazing. It's for me. It's now looking back. It was actually a huge honor and a huge gift because back then I was on my own with my daughter, and I had to start all over again at work, finance, job, school. I wanted to give her the best education possible.
And you have?
I put her in ballet, in music, in voice, everything she loves, and I worked hard for that. But then, because of that hard working, you know, I never had time for myself, so I developed arrhythmia, and at the same time, emotional.
Okay, explain that, arrhythmia. That's something with the heart. Explain that to people, what that means.
Yes, arrhythmia is actually when your heart is not it's not beating the right way. It's actually beating fast. You know, your heart is actually racing, and it's actually not. It doesn't stop. You know, sometimes you have your heart that does a little bit of beat,
flutter.
But then it's actually non-stop and for a long time. And so you feel that you feel you were going to die.
Does it feel like anxiety? Like you can't get your breath? What's it feel like?
No. It's like basically you feel that your heart beats faster and you cannot control it. And you cannot just, even if I'm going to relax, it's not, you can't control it. It's out of control. It's beating faster.
Did it make you feel anxious because of it?
Yeah, because I always felt it's never going to stop and I'm going to die. You know, that's how I felt and then I went to the cardiologist with people, and he put a monitor on me, and he said that I was having symptom of arrhythmia, and then he gave me some medications for when I have that episode, so that it would actually slow down my heart and bring it back to the normal beat. So
now, can I interject real quick?
Yeah.
Now, at this point, you were away from the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde guy. You're away from him. You're 2 years on your own, right? Or is it, where are you now, approximately? Is that right?
A few years later, I think, like probably 4 or 5 years later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been in survival mode, make it happen, take care of my daughter, that you just didn't stop.
No,
and so how do you think this was caused? Was it, did the doctor say how it was brought on?
Yeah, the cardiologist asked me, what do you do for fun? And I said, I don't have time to do anything for fun because I work full force, and then I take care of my daughter, making sure that she has a future and trying to understand everything around me. And then he said, you know, it's very important, and I never knew that. He said, it's very important because it's linked. He said, it's very important to do fun things for your heart. He said, because if you don't do fun things and happy things and leisure, it impacts your physical heart as well. And I never knew that, you know, and he said, that's what happened because I was too stressed and never stopping to be stressed and worried and taking care of my child. And
you were young, really young, right?
Yeah. Well, I was not that young anymore, but still in my late 30s. So
yeah, what I'm saying, you weren't 80, you were young.
No. And so because I was so afraid to have those episodes, because you have to go through one to understand. It's like it doesn't stop. As soon as you lay down, and oftentimes when you lay, and then it would start, and then it wouldn't stop. So so what I didn't understand, and up to now I said, what were you thinking? So some evenings I was thinking, I don't want to have that episode. So I was taking the medication without the episode, which is actually dangerous without realizing, because this medication actually brings slow your heart to the right beat. But if your heart is already to the right beat, it just slows it down even more. And I didn't realize that. And that's when that's what happened, actually. Unconscious. I always say I unconsciously overdosed of the medication because I didn't realize I was doing that, you know. And that's what happened twice. I had 2 near-death experiences within the month. So
Wow. Well, you're going to do it. You're going to do it right. Oh my gosh. Well, it's funny because I mean, Jesus brought you back, but let me tell you, it comes through in a lot of readings. A lot of people say, oh, suicide. I'm like, no, it was an accident. You're very innocent, just like that. Very innocent.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it was very innocent. So what happened? So you were when did this occur? And then how did you realize, whoa, something's different here?
So yeah, so I had I had the first NDE, but I would like to speak of the second one
Yes.
today. My second one happened about 2 or 3. I don't remember exactly the thing because I didn't think, oh, I had an NDE because I didn't even know what NDE was. It came with what happened and it happened at that time. So so my second, but I know it's all within the month, and I knew I was going to die. I knew I was going to die for some reason.
What do you mean? How did that day you knew, or what do you mean by that?
I had a 100% certainty that I was about to die, and I was okay with it. It's almost like, like you belong to a club, and then one day you think, I'm done with that club. I'm not interested anymore. I'm moving on. You know what I mean? I genuinely felt I'm done with life. I'm done with earth life. I'm moving on to the others, to that. I'm moving on. I'm done. I was not suicidal. I didn't say, oh, life is horrible. I want to kill myself. Not at all. I just felt that okay, I'm moving on. And I called my sister in Belgium, and I said to her, I'm gonna die. I feel it. I know, but don't worry, I'm gonna be okay. She's like,
oh my God.
And then I kept buying. I bought all those beautiful pajamas and clothes, and for like the next 2 or 3 weeks, I was always nicely, because I was thinking I want to be decent when somebody finds me.
Oh my God, Yvonne, you are too. Oh my God, you're so funny. You see what I mean? You're funny. You're just getting a taste of Yvonne here. She's wide open. That is so funny. And I could see you doing that. Just so, yeah, well, that's really funny. Or like people you hear when they have an accident and they don't want to be caught with ugly looking underwear, with granny panties. They want to look nice, just in case, like you care at that point.
At that point, yeah, because the healthcare professionals, they don't care. They've seen worse.
No, they don't care. No, they're trying to see if you're blue or not. Well, so basically, I mean, I know you're very intuitive and you're very in tune to things. So do you think it was just your intuition kicking in that, hey, something's going to happen here?
I do think it's heaven that was actually preparing me, because they knew what was going to happen. That's how I feel it. Because
that's beautiful. Okay.
I had a supernatural, unrealistic peace when you know that I have a daughter and I'm alone in this country. So it doesn't make any sense. I would never think that ever. It was the only time in my life so I do feel that something had actually prepared me from
especially to have that peace about you, because that's what is it, peace that goes beyond any understanding,
surpass all intelligence, all understanding. That's the description. Exactly.
Wow. Well, now that we know you look very fashionable in your new pajamas, what happened next? Oh my gosh.
I mean, what things you think of when you're preparing, when you're preparing for something like that. So one day I'm on my sofa, and I'm on my sofa and I'm reading, and suddenly, and it's really hard to explain that to people, but instantly, as my organ was shutting down, instantly I was out of my body. So I never felt the pain.
Okay, let's stop right there. This is key. You know a lot about NDErs too in this phenomena.
Yeah.
But that happens a lot when people come through in the readings. They go, oh, I was in a car. They said, oh, right before I, boom, jump right out. There'll be some anguish, but then boom. But a lot of times they don't feel things.
Yeah.
So talk about that a little bit more, because people ask about that, like, because I'm not into pain either. I'm like, Lord help me, just take me quick, because I don't want to. But I think that God sees that, right? You said you were instantly out.
Yes, actually, it's instant. It's like one moment you're here, and the other moment I was on the other side.
Like a
And
blink.
it all felt normal.
Yeah. Well,
And
we've done this a few times.
And in my first NDEr, I had angels there. That's another one. The angels came to pick me up, 2 of them.
Yeah.
And also the same situation. As soon as I was out of my body, everything seems normal. Once you're out of your body, it's not, you're not even thinking, oh, okay, I got out of my, how did I get, it's okay, you just shifted.
Yeah, it's a shift.
And then once you've shifted and you're outside of your body, it's like you get all your consciousness come back. And you have this, the peace, and there was absolutely, and I was instantly in the light of God, in the light.
So you had a consciousness. Your consciousness was still. Would you say it's? Well, for me, it was kind of razor sharp. I mean, was your consciousness like real? It was like, wow. I mean,
Yeah,
people don't, right?
Yes, it's I always tell people, it's like you wake up from a dream, but the dream is alive here. And you know, it's like when you had a dream, when you had a dream and you wake up and then you say, oh my gosh, I'm happy it was a dream. You remember? I'm happy it was a dream. What was it? There's a bad dream. I'm so, oh my God, this morning.
Planet Earth has been a bad dream.
Yeah, so that's how I felt. I said, oh my God.
It's been a horrible dream. Oh, you know what? I think you're onto something though. I know we laugh about this, but I think this, I can't prove it, but I think this is the fake lab class. We think it's so real. I think over there is more real. I think this is the fake place.
It's like
what do you think?
It's like a simulation. I feel like it's like a simulation, like, and we are unconscious. It's we think we are in the real thing, but we are not. And we see this place temporarily to learn and to give and to do a mission. But then after that, we go to our real reality.
Our real home. Our real home.
The other side, yes, our real home. And that's how I felt. I mean,
that's how I feel. That's what it felt like to me. This doesn't feel real. Sometimes. Does it still feel real to you? Sometimes it feels like I'm in a movie. Like it's kind of, and I'm like this doll body, like, hey, how are you? I'm a girl, and I feel like I'm in a movie because I know I'm not this body. We've had different versions of this. So I think that the only reason I'm saying that is because I think that some people get really upset when people die and they go, oh, this is the real place, they're not a part of it. When if they flipped it and realized, they're like, no, the people that are crossed over in heaven, they're like, sorry, we love you, we support you, we'll see you soon. They're feel sorry for us because it's difficult here. Right?
Yes, it is. And they say, don't worry, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah, we're worried about you, actually. We're just fine.
That you can make it to the end. That you can make it to the end. That's
we're cheering for you. Like I always say, we have a fan club in heaven because they literally are cheering. And I don't think people get that. It's because they're like all taken care of. We're the divine. There's every need met. Here, we're confused. We feel like, this isn't right. Well, yeah, it's not right. This isn't our home. Yeah. Not our true home, not our true self, not our true spirit. So keep going with that, because this is that's I'm so glad we brought that concept up. So you're conscious, you're in the light.
Yeah, but you said something really great, actually, when you said that you're walking in that body, but it's not you, because most of the people that had a near-death experience do not relate as much to the body anymore, so because we know who we are outside the body.
Yeah, we
still take care of it as much as we can.
Well, we are powerful, more powerful, faster, more aware, more clarity, more senses when we're in our spirit form. Yeah. But we're here to learn. We are here, so we can't cheat. We can't cheat death. We are here to learn. We are here to give and love. But yeah, I do feel like that because I know we've been so many things. So we are not our bodies. Yeah. And but it does. Sometimes it feels like I'm in a play, and I know one day it'll feel like a dream being here. Some of our our lives feel like,
It's a dream,
don't
yeah.
you think so? It feels like a dream being here, because
It
when you're
is.
in that state, it felt like, oh my God, this is the real place. Did it
No,
feel
no,
like that
no.
for you?
No, actually, it always feel like we're here to we should actually we try to especially after a near-death experience, you try to reconnect and to enter the game again, enter that matrix again. Like in the movie The Matrix.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities. That's why
Yeah,
people.
but now you have been awakened, and now you have to go back into the sleep. I always tell people, it's like you had that near-death experience. It's almost like you grew up in a swamp, and you had all those dangerous,
Alligators.
creatures, and you were in the middle of the jungle, and everything around is so dangerous, and you can be killed any moment, and you live in that swamp, and then suddenly you are actually flying to the crisp Switzerland or Colorado mountains, and you are in that purity. And then you have to go back to that swamp. Now we know it's a swamp. Before.
Well, people don't like to hear this is a fallen world, but this is why we got to bring love to it. And it is, at some point, I really feel, and I want to ask you this, and then we'll move on with your NDE story. But that's why a lot of people argue to not come back. I argued not to come back, but I was told, Jesus told me that I need you. He said, I need you to help change this world. Just right out of the Lord's Prayer, bring heaven to earth, because it's a reflection. That actually is prettier there, but it is a reflection. And I had to agree to that, free will, I had to agree, but he said I wouldn't be alone. So there you are, my sister. Said I wouldn't be alone doing this work, but you agree to coming back to this. You're like, it's perfect there. You're like, okay. Don't you agree?
Yes, we agree to come back, and that's why we're here. Some people, though, who didn't want to come back, finally agreed to come back because they are shown the importance of the mission on Earth, the importance of why they accepted in the first place to do this mission before coming to Earth, because we existed before we came to Earth.
Very much.
We just don't remember because it's all part of that big plan, so that we could do our job well. Because I do believe that if we all remember where we came from in that world of light and of love and of beauty, we would be overly depressed to be here.
Or we would just say, game done. Okay, we're from the, okay, let's all go. And we would just poof, and we would just...
and we would just stand still until we can go home. You know what I mean?
Waiting.
Remember. So that's that's we are here for a mission, and I love the mission you do, Tamara. You are such a spark in this world.
Sparky, that's what,
I'm calling you Sparky.
Okay.
I love that. And you always are funny. You always make me laugh. You have just such a life in you, and energy, and also creativities. Because you see, what people don't realize is that when you had a near-death experience as a child, like you had, I have met a few of them, and I always see the same pattern. It's actually those that had an NDE as a child, because they were not yet adults. They have all the creativity of their life that they build on their experience, and now they usually always are extremely creative, fast in creating what they're creating, very talented in it, and they are, they just not focus on one thing. They can do 10 things at the same time, and they have that creativity, and they have that ability to work in different ways, fast and well. And I've seen that pattern with children experiencers. So I just want to say that because
I didn't even know that. So thank you. I'm still learning. I didn't know. I've always been very energetic and very creative. I'm an artist, but that doesn't mean that I don't have disappointments or things don't always go well. But thank you for saying that. Yeah, I'm still learning. I don't know. I didn't know there was anybody else out there like me. Oh God. Okay, let's go back to you and the light. So you're at the light, and what's your mindset? What are you seeing? What are you experiencing?
So now comes to the amazing part of it, is um, I am in the light, and that light is completely loving, completely, I feel completely happy. I mean, but not just happy, it's actually the emotion, the highest emotion of happiness and of joy that we could ever experience in any dimensions of life and of reality. It's really the highest existing state of joy and of happiness. And there's absolutely nothing, negative in that space.
Right.
Nothing is negative. It's all joy. It's all beauty. It's all kindness. It's all peace. And I'm just basking in that light. I'm just basking in it. And
well, talk about, you know, a lot of NDErs talk about the oneness or the feeling of, I don't know, oneness, completeness, love. What, use your own words, whatever that was, or
yeah.
what you experienced in your words.
Well, yeah, it's really, and on top of that, English is not my first language. Sorry, but
no, you're very good at English. I'm very impressed with you.
It's great.
Yeah. You're very good at this. Yes.
You know, so I will try to say that light, I was engulfed in it. It's like every single atom of who I am was blended with that joyful and effervescent type of love and light. I was part, I mean, it's not that I was not the light, but I felt like I was with the light, and everything, all my component of who I was blending with that, was feeling every single emotion of love and light and happiness. And it was just peace. I don't know. And the light was everywhere. It was just not one light. It was everywhere I could look was just light. There was no bottom. There was no, you know, there's no limits to it. I was just inside it and basking in it.
So that probably had a lot of joy in it.
Lots
of joy. So, oh wow, yeah. I just want people to, you know, and I know you do a meditation on your site. We'll put your channel below, which actually it's in French. I'm not French, English.
Yeah.
The meditation with French subtitles, so they can go through that, where you try to bring that light to people. And I do that little exercise too. I just do it all the time to people, get people high, you know, on my stage stuff. You know, and you're like, and you sort of, I think you actually saw me do it and giggled. You go, I do that too, because you know what, we can actually bring that light with us, and you know, and say, here, have some of that. Maybe people will remember, oh yeah, I'm not part of the game here. I'm actually spirit.
Yeah.
So oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No. Oh my gosh, we're so funny. No, I was just going to say, go ahead with the story. I want to hear also about the Jesus parts, because it's very important what you have to say. So
I'm basking in that light, and so imagine everything is bright, everything is lit up, everything is joy, everything is peace. And suddenly in that light, I see a being of light, even brighter than the light, coming towards me. He was actually high up there, hovering towards me like that. And that being was just pure light. I could only make the outside of the being. Everything was just pure light, and I could see two forms of legs and two forms of arms, but more like, you know, those shapes that you see in an open fire. You know, those shape that goes and it's moving. So the arms were like that, the legs were like that, and it was just a pure shape, a round shape of head, but it was just pure light. I couldn't make up the feature yet. It was just a being made of pure light. That's all I could see. And that being was just hovering with that the same movement as the movement of the fire. I'm trying to show, to bring people in a visual, and that's how it was moving towards me, very elegantly, very gently towards me, and moving, and then it came above me, whirling above me like that, and it looked at me with like, wow, you know, it was just looking at me like, she's amazing, she's beautiful,
Yeah.
the love, like, and then it actually circled me, and it's all arms, imagine that being is not made of flesh and bone, it's only made of light energy.
Yes.
And so it can move in all the shape and all the way at once, and that beings is actually surrounding me and holding me like that. And when it holds me like that, I just instantly am downloaded. This is Jesus. This is
So you knew instantly.
instantly, because in that other place, we cannot doubt things. People say, well, how do you know it was Jesus? Because in heaven, earth is the place where we contradict everything. But over there, it's you're with the truth of life. So
Yeah.
everything is given to you. Every information is given instantly.
Yes.
Absolutely. There's no doubt. There's no fakeness. There's no tricking you. It's just because
all truth.
All true. And so that the download, it's like a download. I knew instantly, this is Jesus. I didn't think, oh, this is Jesus. No.
Yeah, I just wanted you to express that, not to, I mean,
different.
because people would probably ask that, like how you do. I knew instantly, and it was not by like, oh, blah, blah, blah. It was more like my entire fiber.
Yeah, it was not my mind.
Yes.
It was not me thinking, this might be Jesus or not. No,
Yeah.
No, because in that world, it doesn't exist. That is for earth. Everything because that's another, there's no stressful emotion in heaven. There's no stressful emotion in heaven. And actually, doubting is another stressful emotion. It doesn't exist there. That's for earth, when we are here in this duality. But over there, there's no duality. It's all a oneness of love and peace.
Yes.
And actually, I knew instantly it was it was God or Creator that actually gave me this information. You see, and it was instantly, this is Jesus. You see, it's two different things, honestly. And so that's what I was told. It's Jesus, and he was looking at me like a mother. Look at her firstborn child. Oh, she's so beautiful. But that's how we are all loved.
Yes, he loves everyone like that. Everyone.
No difference. We're all loved equally the same way. Like we are I felt at that moment, you're in that light, but I have the sensation of all the dimensions and all the planets and all the galaxies. That same sensation is in me while that Jesus is actually holding me as a parent. And I feel that in that vastness, I'm unique.
That's what's beautiful to me, because you're talking about being collective. You know everything. I knew everything too. People say, well, what'd you learn? It was not like a lesson or class. It's a quick instant download. I knew everything about electricity, about everything, the beginning of time. I knew, but the one language, there is only one language in heaven, and it's the language of love.
Yeah.
And nothing else matters. If you knew how, everything worked in the whole world, does it really matter? Does it really matter? Yeah. So that's beautiful that you separated that you had universal knowledge and wisdom instantly, but you also had your own identity, and that you were so loved, and that God and also Christ knew exactly who you were.
Yeah.
And they were excited.
Yeah, it was a homecoming.
It was like, it's a celebration. Like, woohoo, she's here. Good job.
It was a homecoming, Tamara, like you say so well. It was a homecoming, and I have to say that, and I know many people that believe in Jesus will think I'm, it's not a heresy, but when Jesus was holding me, I felt the mother and the father in one unit. You
Sure.
see, so oftentimes we think of Jesus just as a male.
Mm-hmm.
When Christ held me, it was my ideal parents that were holding me.
Oh,
My
wow.
ideal parents. And I
Wow.
say
Yeah.
ideal because we all had,
Oh my gosh.
many of us. So it was really my ideal parents. He had the two energy. You know, like on Earth, you have the
Wow.
male and the female energy, and that was blended into one unit. And I never felt that ever again. It was the two energy, female and male in one unit. In the ideal parent, it's like you
Yeah, I
combine
do.
one unit.
But
And
you know, it's funny, there's a lot of people that might have had a rough life or lived in a foster home,
yeah,
to know that our real parents, you know, I mean, well, I got to tell you mine from my perspective to back you up here, because I know this may sound strange to some people, but when I had my NDE with Jesus there, I felt such parental love. I mean, I don't know how to say, it was more than that, a lot more than that, but I knew when I came back, I would always say, you're my real father. Of course, father and mother, but you're the real parent. Because, and that's with everybody. I mean, yeah, I mean, he feels that way about everybody. It's kind of hard for us to imagine that.
yeah.
And you're like, even that jerk down the street that cusses his name, I'm like, yeah, him too. Him too.
Yeah,
Right?
it's hard because everybody's talking about Jesus all the time, but seeing and experiencing Jesus is beyond religions. It's beyond
Yeah,
political gains,
true.
beyond, intellectual skepticism. It's really meeting unconditional love. That's what it is.
Yeah.
All his being is unconditional love. All his being. There's no 1 ounce of evil or even negative thinking.
It's pureness.
In that being, it's pureness.
Pureness.
That's the word. That's a beautiful word.
And we don't really see that. We see glimpses of pureness, but I don't even think we know what that is. But when we see it,
Yeah.
we know it. But you don't really see pureness here.
No.
But so it's a hard concept to say, but I agree with you. It's man, it's hard to explain, but I do get that. He was pureness of no judgment. Can you imagine meeting a person, no judgment at all, no matter what you've done at
No.
all,
And then
and just love? It's
yeah,
kind of,
yeah, that who's looking at us. And I remember another time I saw Jesus, not in the NDE but alive,
yeah.
in my room, and I felt so low. I felt like I had done the worst thing. I had sinned, and that was before my NDE actually. So I still had that mindset of guilt tripping myself. And I remember his eyes on me looking like, why are you making yourself so miserable?
He does that with it. I know, it's so cute.
He couldn't
Yeah.
understand why I was like, oh, I'm such a sinner. And then it was like, what? You've
Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah, the eyes of unconditional love. He said that you're perfect, and not because we say we are perfect. No, that's what love does. Love see you perfect. See,
Yeah.
it doesn't see all the bad things you've done around it. It sees your soul.
Yes.
The one that actually, that's what love.
Oh, yes. I mean, you are speaking the highest wisdom that I've heard in a long time. That is the exact truth. And I do want to say this has nothing to do with church or religion or no religion. I just, I tell people I'm just team God, but it's a supernatural love. And personally, after that, I've been hooked. But I saw him, I haven't even talked to you, but I won't go into it. I'll tell you privately. But I did see him in person 2 years ago in the flesh. I was shocked. And I saw the pureness looking at me. And I kept looking around because I first was surprised to see him downtown Charlotte. The grass in the medium. I actually yelled his name out before I even saw him. I went, my Lord, like Tourette's, and I'm going to a concert, and I don't even see anybody. And then I see a little figure, and I'm like, no way, no way. And then I get, he was real. And then I turned, and he was gone. he was beautiful, but he looked through me like pureness. Like, it's really hard to imagine, like, you've never done anything wrong at all, ever.
Yeah.
And we know that's not true. So it's supernatural. It really is.
It is. It is. When you tell it, I know you understand. It's
I do. It sounds crazy to some people.
And that's what I sometimes said. Sometimes I feel sad for people who believe in Christ and who believe in Jesus, that are beating themselves over and over again. I'm not worthy of you. I'm gonna be, and they beat themselves up while.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a waste of time.
Rejoice, just be happy.
Yeah, you're here.
Be happy. I don't want you to feel guilty for every movement you make, because then you don't move forward. If you're just filled with guilt, you're not going to make any move forward. I mean, you will be bound by those guilt. Just put that aside and move forward.
Yes.
and think I'll do better next time. I think.
Right. But I think you've done the best job of anyone I've talked to other than me, because I love it. I love him too. Explaining that it doesn't have anything with man-made religion here at all. Okay. And I've had people judge me that are Christians and people that judge me that are non-Christians.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm like, but you know what? That's a waste of time too, labeling people. And people have different spiritual experiences, and some people might have had a Mother Mary experience, or another kind, or I've had angel experiences too. But I think that supernatural quality of that love is why so many people in this world feel lost, and they feel like something's wrong, and they try to fill it with booze or stuff or women or men or houses or cars or whatever, is because they go, something's off. Yeah, we're not from here. We're here to do a job. This sort of sucks sometimes, but that's why it feels off, because our natural state is all love, and we can't always be that here. We want to.
We want to, but we can't, because the pattern of society that are built on Earth, on planet Earth, is actually based on greed, on self-interest, self-centeredness,
self-importance,
and then we're so busy with ourselves all the time, and yet that's a distraction. Because imagine, I always say that, because when I was in heaven, because and I saw angels, and in that world, in God's world, in creation,
God's country.
In God's world, in the air, exactly in that light, over there, every being, every angel, every being like you and I that are actually on the other side, their main purpose is to help that one being, that one spirit, to achieve his own success.
Absolutely.
His own, his own growth. And everybody will gather together to help that one person achieve. However, here on this planet, it's the opposite. People are using everybody around them for them to achieve something. And and I'm thinking,
you're speaking now. Preach, sister, because this is the truth right here. This is truth.
Isn't it true? Imagine that we all had the same principle as the other side, as heaven, and we all would actually focus on somebody and help them achieve. Imagine how much more successful this planet would be, and we would be more advanced, because instead of jealousy and envy and stopping people, we would promote them, and we would be such a much more advanced world and planet, and everybody would be successful. But I guess we are on this planet, and that's why when I was in that light, I said to Jesus, I don't want to go back on that planet.
I get it. Right. We don't want to put anything bad in people's minds. You can't cheat life, so just don't put anything. But when the time comes, it is good.
Yeah. But I will also say with compassion, that people are actually self-absorbed and self-centered most of the time, because they probably as children have trusted others, have helped others, and they have been betrayed,
Of
they've been
course.
raped, they have been abused, you know, like
Yes.
have physically, verbally, sexually, sometimes,
Yeah.
and so they have lost the trust in others. And
Yeah.
as a survival mode, everyone is putting themselves first now, because it's a
Right.
survival mode, because
Okay.
they've been damaged by others, and
Oh
we have
man.
damaged others too. We have hurt others too in our growth. So it's like that world that eventually the only way to succeed is to think of us first, and it's kind of
Yeah.
sad because it's the opposite of heaven.
Right. No, but I got to tell you, you are coming in clean. You know, I channel, and let me tell you what, I'm hearing the angels when it's dead on, they'll go, or spot on, or heaven on, they'll go. "Oh," they start doing. They're like praising what you're saying is true. They're going like, because you're glorifying God in heaven. They do that. They like, oh, it's like I hear a lot of, oh, like a choir, and they're doing that while you're doing that because it is so true. So. You're right. People have had a hurt and they're betrayed. And, you know, even as a little kid, I was so innocent that I didn't really understand lying or things like that. And a lot of people have a hard time with that are more pure of heart because they trust people. But
Yeah,
it's not you, it's this world. And somehow, you know, if we follow what Jesus says, he says, you know, turn the other cheek, keep marching on. Don't let that light burn out in you and that love. So it just is the way that it is right now. But what you described, I don't know if you realize that. Well, you have to look at the recording of this, or when you go back and view it again. That is the state of where we are right now, and I think that that's why so many people feel so lost, and
yeah,
why they're in a fear mode. But what you said should free people up because it's not who we really are. We're really beautiful. We really are love.
yeah. We are love, and we are beings of light from that other world. And I love what you just said, Tamara, and I know we're always on the same wavelength and heaven. So, and that's what it is. It's actually, unfortunately, people are life on Earth is based on fear,
Yes.
and and if we could base it on love, it would be we could actually move forward. People would be
Yeah.
successful in their own progression. I'm talking about that sad thing that is happening with COVID. Uh,
Mm.
you know, and it's so sad. Out of that misery, the only good thing we can see out of it is that so many people are doing introspection now, and
Yes,
they're
I
looking
agree.
at who they are, what was really important, what was not important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And some people are just
Mhm.
trying to be more loving towards others that they haven't seen for a while. I mean, that's the only positive thing I see in that whole.
Not only, that's kind of big.
It's big, yes.
It's big because there are people, and I feel, and I don't know about you, and I agree with that. I think there are people right now that are listening that might feel like, am I going crazy? I've got these new feelings. I all of a sudden realize I'm not happy with a lot of things in my life. That's a good thing because you're waking up. You took that pill. I mean, you're waking up, you know, the matrix, the green or the blue, whatever it was. You're waking up. And so part of the discovery of you is growing out of that being asleep and being complacent. And so when you start becoming uncomplacent, well, I don't like how people are mean, or I don't like that, you're starting to become more your soul, because then you can go, what does my soul need? What do I need? What can I do to be of service to others? And you begin to wake up. But during that wake up period, sometimes this is extremely uncomfortable. You may lose a lot of friends. You may get a divorce. But if that's, maybe that's needed for the other person too, that that sometimes people need to move on. So things are going to happen the way they should. So I don't know about you, but your spiritual journey, if you embrace it and take that mission, like Mission Impossible, if you accept this mission, it's not easy, but the payoff,
It does.
it's fantastic, because you know that you know that you know that you are a child of the Most High, that you are loved beyond measure, and that while you're here, you're going to do your best to spread that love.
Exactly. Exactly. that's all that needs to be said, actually,
Wow.
because it's beautiful, actually, what you just said,
Wow.
and that's maybe why we do those videos, right? To remind people that
Remind
we're
them.
not those hurting people here. We are actually royalty in that other life, in that other world. We are
Yeah.
royalty. We are
Oh, yeah. That's
in,
right.
and we came on a big mission. Earth is not an easy mission.
No.
It's a very. I remember telling Jesus when I was in that light, and after a few interaction with Jesus in the light, at some point I said, I don't want to go back. Don't send me back to Earth.
Yeah, I begged,
I
please
said,
don't do it. I can't do it.
this is a very violent planet.
I'm like, this is horrible. Don't make me do it. It's not nice.
I said, there are many people that are mean there, and there's
I said the same thing.
many
Oh my God, he must hear this all the time.
there are many selfish, but you know, the beauty of it is that we're not judging by saying that you're not judging. The beautiful thing in heaven is that you can be yourself. And let's say, oh, that's not Christian to say that or stuff. No, over there you have freedom to say what you feel, as long as the base is love. Because when you say it's a violent planet, it's because you want love on that planet, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
When you say there are many people who are selfish, it's because you would like to see everyone helping one another.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it is. So I think it is courageous for everyone to be here, but if we can do our best to be the best version of ourselves here, despite the duality, the hardship, if we can do, okay, we are going to decide to be, you know, and to give.
We're going to decide to bring the love here, despite the counter intention. We're going to decide to make this a better place.
Yeah,
right.
And to share with each other. To share our time, to share our words of encouragement, to share who we are. You know, I see this world, for example, people, the main purpose here is actually to get rich. And I've always wondered.
It's a lower vibration, not anything that people have money, but it's more, that's really love money, kind of different.
Yeah, but I'm thinking we shouldn't be, billionaires shouldn't exist. I mean, because they can have 30 lifetime. They will never use that money. So why don't you help humanity?
Yeah, you're not here that long. You're not here that long.
No, you don't hear that long. And so there's so much good we can all do, and we can all encourage one another to do the good and not the bad around us. And
no, I agree. And not to say it's not, look, we live on this planet. I'm not saying it's bad to make money. We all have to make money. We all have to pay our bills. And look, I mean, I remember my college days being broke. That's a bad place too.
I'm making a good living as well, though, so it's not bad. It's when it goes to a limit that to a
greedy and cruel.
Yeah, a dimension that is like, okay, what do you do with all that money for the rest of your life? You know, having 20 billion for just yourself, you know? I mean, I'm not trying to judge. I mean, those people,
I hear you. How many gold toilets do you need?
Work hard. Those people have worked hard. I understand that, but I'm not trying, you know, that's love is more than that. Love is more than
that's it. Love is more, not that I didn't want anyone to think, oh, you know, that we're beating up people with money. No, I mean, it's good to have ambition. It's good to take care of yourself and your family, but it's when anything, not just money, but anything becomes your God and you lose yourself, your soul self, your real self, and your connection to your creator. I don't care what you call it, mother, father, source, the one, God, the divine, same thing. And it's very hard to describe, but yet we know what that is on some level. But I'm with you. If we can try. I mean, that's what we're here for. Jesus told me that I mean, he made it, he didn't hide it. He was very transparent. It's right out of the Lord's Prayer. He wants to put heaven on earth. He said it. He gave that to us. He made it very clear. He told me that when I was over there. But look how hard that is. It's not easy.
No.
It's not easy. But the fact is that if you're brave to step forward and you're like, well, if I'm going to be here, I'm going to be the best version of myself. And we shouldn't let others hold us down or hold us back or not let us shine brightly, because it's not what our Creator would want for us. So hopefully this will encourage people to be their true self, whatever that is. And again, you can't tell people the spiritual path that they need to take, because that's for them to find.
Everyone has their own way, yes, and I agree with you. Good tip. Yeah.
Well, you've been amazing, and we're going to have a live chat at 6 to 7 when people see this on Thursday. Then we'll have the live chat at 6. So you want to join Yvonne, and we'll get. I mean, you can already tell. I mean, I try to be transparent, but Yvonne's very genuine. We'll I don't know if we know the answer, but we'll answer anything we think we can, and she's really good like that. And if there's any questions, get that ready for the live chat at 6 o'clock on Friday.